What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today I've got some more crazy entitled parent stories I'm excited to share with you. But before we get into our first one, I quickly want to say that over 50% of you watching right now are not subscribed to my channel yet. So if you're in that category, consider subscribing. We're now closing in on 500,000 subscribers. So yeah, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and turn notifications on to keep up with my daily content. You want free stuff, eh? Back off before I teach your spawn some fun new words. Hello friends, I'm here to take you all on a wonderful entitled parents adventure. Note, no entitled kids were physically harmed in the making of this story. I may or may not have dealt some mental damage though. I'm sure he's fine. Now, this story all starts with a hobby of mine. I do spray paint art to pass the time and to try to get the colours out of my head so that I can stop thinking about them. Now, naturally, this hobby is quite expensive. Paint supplies add up quite quickly, so I occasionally hit up the markets to move my old paintings and fund my habits. And it was a chilly Saturday morning in a near post-COVID Queensland when this occurred. So I'm there selling my paintings when I encounter young Bobby. An anomaly in the world we live in. Bobby is straight up just running around on his own, expressing wonder and delight at all he comes across. Quite frankly, the young man was good for the soul. So while I'm chilling at my store, young Bobby runs up to look at my paintings and the little man is awestruck. I know it sounds like I'm tooting my own horn here, but it really was a wonderful moment for me. Bobby said, "These are amazing." "Thank you, little man. They're really cool." He then proceeds to get distracted by the next stall over and runs off. Now this interaction repeats itself several times, until the little angel on my right shoulder pipes up and the interaction which establishes my complete lack of business acumen occurs. "I really like this one here. I call it Moon Spider." "You know what, kiddo? Take Moon Spider. He's all yours." "I can't afford him though." "Little man, don't worry about it. You've really liked my work and I appreciate that. Now run along before I change my mind." "Thank you so much." I hand Bobby Moon Spider and he runs off into the distance with glee, leaving me feeling pretty freaking good about myself. Once again, I know this sounds like I've written this story in order to give myself a blowy, but fear not, dear readers, a challenger is approaching. See, fresh off the heels of Bobby, I turn around to see a Karen spawn picking up one of my paintings and running off to its progenitor, Karen. I quickly take a few steps forward and snatch it out of his hands from above. "Whoa, hold up little dude, you gotta pay for that," he said in a super whiny voice. "But mum said I could have it." "Then your mum can pay for it first." Then Karen got involved. "Just give it to him. You gave one to that other boy. My little angel deserves it more than him." "That's not how this works, lady. They're already cheap as F as it is, and I ain't a charity." "Don't you dare swear around my child. You will give him that painting and we will not be paying." Now, I'll admit, I'm not fond of swearing around kids myself, but upon hearing the line, "Don't swear around my child," the little devil on my left shoulder came up with a way to either resolve this situation, or maybe make it a ton worse. Honestly, it was a 50-50. "Lady, allow me to offer a compromise. Either you F off and take your spawn along, or I teach him a full alphabet of fun frickin' words he can say." "How dare you? Do you know who I am? I'll see to it you never sell here again." "Oh," singing in a tone kind of like the fun song from SpongeBob. "A is for butthole, it's where you find the G-spot. B is for that's what your son is. C is for it's like a butt but on the front." Oh my god, what a song. Karen shrieks, covers her spawn's ears, and proceeds to leg it away from me as quickly as her legs would carry her, leaving me behind, laughing like a supervillain. I didn't see her again that day. She may have gone round the long way out to avoid me. As for the fallout, I got a warning from the market asking me not to antagonize parents, but aside from that, nothing came of it. The woman who delivered the warning even bought a painting, so I basically just got some free advertising out of it. And so I got to wrap up the day feeling great about myself as the angel and devil on my shoulders shared a crisp high five. Well, no doubt about it, that is definitely one of my favourite stories I've read in the past few weeks. Everything about that was just perfect. The way it was written, you know, the story, that SpongeBob song. That must be the first time I've tried to sing on my channel, but I thought I gave it a decent go. Yeah, apart from that, OP, I loved every second of that. Thank you for posting it. Honestly, I reckon you should record that song yourself, OP, and sell it. You could probably make quite a lot of money out of it. It's an absolute banger. Yeah, it may be a little bit explicit if you don't bleep out the words like I did, but other than that, I think think you're on the way to a platinum single right there. Entitled mother gets bitten by the dog she tried to steal and even got an infection. My friend's grandma's neighbor had problems with predators, wildcats, weasels, and rarely foxes or other dogs, so she bought a Turkish Kangal. This is a big dog, sometimes taller than a human, with a painful bite and a real problem for bears. Yes, the Kangals are actually strong enough to fight a bear. After she bought the dog, no more sheep or chickens disappeared. Some of the sheep had a few scratches, but nothing serious. I heard that some of her neighbors were jealous because they didn't have the chance to get a Turkish Kangal. One day, when the neighbor was grazing the sheep, a woman tried to grab the dog. But she didn't really realize how big the dog was. The dog felt like it was attacked and knocked her back. She slipped and fell on the grass. The dog ran back to the neighbor and the woman started screaming. The neighbor then said, "Stop screaming, weirdo! Who gave you the right to grab my dog? I want the dog for my kid. Plus, this isn't your garden to graze the sheep here. This garden belongs to no one. I have the right to graze them here." "No, you don't. Just go away. Not before I get the dog." "You won't. Just give it to me." "No?" Then the entitled mum's entitled kid comes over. "Mum, did you get the dog?" "No, this rude woman won't give it to us." "Because it isn't yours?" "Listen here, you better give the dog to us or we will break your head." This is a Bulgarian insult hard to translate, wow. "If you even look at the dog, I will break your teeth and wear them as a necklace." "Just give us the dog to avoid conflicts." "How about you go away and tell your father the next time he has sex with your mother to wear a condom without a hole." Oh my god. That's it. The entitled kid knocks the neighbor over. She fell on the grass and the entitled mum tried to grab the Kangal again. The dog started barking insanely. The entitled mum gave up and started running and the dog started chasing after her. The dog finally got her and bit her hard. Cue a very loud scream. After everything ended, the entitled mum had to go to hospital because she got an infection after she didn't clean the part where the dog bit her. The sheep were very scared of the entitled mum's scream and started jumping around, and one of them ran over the entitled kid as he fell in the sheep's poo. I was also ran over by a sheep once, and trust me, you don't want to get run over by a sheep. It is painful. Well, look, I gotta be honest, I've never been run over by a sheep myself, but yeah, it certainly sounds like it would be quite painful. Thanks OP for informing me not to do that. Bulgarian insults, by the way, sound insane. I will break your teeth and wear them as a necklace. That is mental, but I love it. I mean, nothing really tops the British insult "suck your mum," but that certainly comes close, that's for sure. Now moving on to our final story of today's video. Father wasted 30 minutes of my life because he couldn't admit I was right. I'm not sure if it goes here, but I'm giving it a try. As the title says, my father is entitled because he can never admit he's wrong. My dad is a real piece of work. I have so many stories about him, but let's focus on this one. One thing I can tell you about my father is that he hates being proven wrong, and he will go out of his way to keep from admitting it. And even when it's proven, he doesn't acknowledge it. Now this story happened a few years ago and involves my dad, my nephew, I can't remember what he said so I didn't put any dialogue, he's about 8 or 9, and of course me. My nephew is into gaming and has his own Xbox 360. This was when the new gen consoles were already out, just to let you know. My nephew came back from GameStop and bought a used copy of Batman Arkham City. He goes to play it and a while later I get called up to the game room where my dad and nephew are at. I'm told that there is a paper with a code in the game case which will give free DLC when inputted. My nephew put it in and it didn't work. He called his grandpa, aka my entitled dad, and he came and didn't know what to do. So, what's his solution? Call the only other gamer in the house. I'm the only one in the house out of 4 siblings who plays video games, and they call me the expert in it. They tell me what's going on, and I immediately understood what the problem is. I don't remember much of the exchange, but I'm doing my best to remember what was said. Ah, so you've bought a used copy of the game, that means the code has already been used up. Then why would they include it in the game? Because the original owner of the game didn't take it out. Then the code must work. No, it won't. Fix it. What? I say in surprise. You heard me. Fix it. I can't. The code is already used up and can't be used again. I don't care. It was in the game, so that means it should work. Call Xbox and tell them the code doesn't work. My dad doesn't know that calling Xbox means calling Microsoft. They're just gonna tell you the same thing. Note, it's a really bad idea to annoy my dad. At the time, he helped me a lot with the things I needed, aka college paperwork, rides, etc. If I annoyed him, he'll refuse to do anything and give me the cold shoulder. Call them. Knowing arguing with my dad would lead to my life being complicated, I relented and called Microsoft. I wasted 30 minutes of my life waiting for a live operator to answer and tell my entitled dad the exact same thing I told him. Still not liking that, my dad tries to ask for a new code as they bought the game and should have it, but the operator told them that's not how used games work. Finally realizing it was going nowhere, he hung up. I told you. My entitled dad says nothing else and leaves, not even commenting about the issue, yet he did seem a bit irritated. Yeah, so that's how my dad wasted 30 minutes of my life because he didn't want to be proved wrong when I was right. I have a few more stories about him, one in which he messed up my credit score. If interested, let me know. You know what, I'm gonna cut your dad a little bit of slack here. It's clear he doesn't really know much about the internet, video games, Xbox, Microsoft, stuff like that. It's not really that far-fetched to suggest that he didn't realize that a used code could only be used once and not in a resold game. I think that's okay to say. However though, it would have been nice if he had apologized at the end at least, especially given that you're called the expert in your family. He should have at least, expected you to know more than him about it, rather than having you call Microsoft help support for, half an hour of your life, which we could have been doing something else with, that's for sure. Yeah, to be fair, the more I think about it, when he said, I don't care it's been used already, just make it work, that sort of logic doesn't really add up. Maybe this entitled dad is a little bit stranger than I'm letting him off to be. Anyway guys, that is going to do it for this episode of Entitled Parents, but before you click off the screen, make sure please that you are subscribed to my channel. We are now so close to 500,000, just need a few more thousand of you to get involved. Hit that button, it's free, totally free, and you know what, you'll get notified when I post a video if you turn the bell on as well. So if you're a fan of the channel, why not go ahead and click both buttons. With that being said, if you want more immediately from me, playlists are on the screen, go ahead, check them out, but more importantly, make sure you are subscribed.